2026 MG S5 EV is finally making noise in the US. Leidet Sutras Toindern Tribuntuetriden. And honestly, it's about time. MG has been building momentum overseas, but now they're stepping into one of the toughest EV markets in the world. And this new S5 feels like their first real shot at getting Americans to pay attention. Let's talk about why. Right away, the design hits different. The S5 doesn't look like a budget EV trying too hard. It has this clean, sporty stance with sharp lines, a low nose, and a wide rear that gives it more presence than you'd expect in this segment. You can tell they're aiming at buyers who don't want a boring appliance. It's got that modern EV vibe without looking like a science experiment, and that alone puts it ahead of a lot of new players trying to enter the US market. Power-wise, MG clearly knows Americans won't tolerate weak EVs anymore. The S5 EV is expected to offer strong acceleration, a smooth electric drive, and a range that actually makes sense in the real world. You're looking at something that competes directly with the Hyundai Ioniq 5, Kia EV6, and maybe even the Model Y if the pricing is aggressive. And while it's fully electric, MG isn't ignoring versatility. You still get selectable drive modes, improved traction systems, and light off-road capability. Nothing crazy, but enough for gravel roads, snowy trips, or those weekend getaways US buyers love. Inside, the update is probably the biggest jump from earlier MG models. The cabin finally feels premium instead of good for the price. Big panoramic display, soft touch materials, ambient lighting, wireless tech everywhere, and a layout that finally looks designed for American taste. The seats are more supportive, there's more space for families, and the cargo area is surprisingly big for something with a sporty silhouette. MG clearly wants to show that value doesn't have to look cheap. And speaking of value, pricing is where MG is planning to hit the hardest. Early estimates put the S5 EV somewhere in the mid-30,000s to low 40,000s depending on the trim. For the US market, that's dangerous, in a good way, because if they really deliver that price with these features and this design, they're going to force bigger brands to rethink what they offer. At the same price point, compared to older MG models, this thing looks like a massive evolution. Better materials, better tech, better range, better looks. Pretty much everything is on another level. And that's exactly what MG needed if they're serious about competing in the US instead of being the cheap alternative. The S5 EV could actually stand on its own. The big question is whether Americans will trust a brand they haven't seen in decades. That's the real challenge. But if MG backs this up with a strong warranty, real dealership support, and this level of product quality, the S5 EV could easily become the breakout model that puts them back on the map. So yeah, the 2026 MG S5 EV isn't just another EV, it's MG trying to prove they belong in the US again. And honestly, this might be the first time they've brought something that can actually compete. If the final specs match what we're seeing now, expect this car to shake up the EV conversation in a big way.